So obviously we're going to talk about our trade in your training process. So this process, me and Jess we run it every day. We interact with customers that submit documents to us. And we're also going to, cover off some customer stories. And then after that, I'm going to hand it over to Jess, and she's going to, do a live demo portion, show you our authoring tool, show you what the conversion process looks like from, maybe a PowerPoint file to an actual micro lesson in an app. And in some cases, the transformation is just amazing. It's really great what our instructional design team can do to, pretty much bring something that you made in PowerPoint or Word or something like that to life. So it's really awesome. And in most cases, most transformations can be done in around 24 hours, which is really awesome. Awesome. So let's move on here. So, with our train your training process, again, you can upgrade your training and the whole process is free. So pretty much what's going to happen is, if I go to the next slide here, you're going to upload your materials to a website, which I'll show you on the next slide. And when you upload it, one of us, Jess or I, may reach out to you for some further clarification. We might, ask you some questions about what program you're trying to run here, just to get a better understanding of, why you're looking to use that app, and if you'd be a good fit for us, which most of the time you are. Then from there, we'll try to give you an ETA on when you would receive your content back. And in the meantime, Jess is going to talk about our one-to-many onboarding sessions. It's definitely a good idea, but she'll go into that in a little bit more detail when she shares her screen. So after you submit it, our instructional design team will work on converting your file into a micro lesson or a couple micro lessons, and they're really awesome. So they'll take branding from your website, or if you wanted to send over an image for a logo or a background or something like that, they'll take that and they will really bring it to life. So they'll even upload GIFs that they can upload pictures as a background and have it moving, so it looks like a moving image in the background as your learners are going through content. So they do a really nice job. And then from there, you can when it's ready, we'll notify you that it's live and in your account. And if you haven't had a meeting with us in the past, we definitely would recommend just setting up a meeting with us. We'll help walk you through content, the different slide templates that our instructional design team used, things like that. We'll also walk you through some of the things that Jess are going to walk you through today, and how to take that and then bring it to the next step, to eventually deploy it to a bunch of users. So on the screen here, this is going to be the website that you can upload your training to. So it's edapp.com//trade-in-your. So it's just going to have you fill out a short form here. There's 3 files that you can add to this. Normally what we would do at first is just create a couple lessons for you. And lessons in EdApp are pretty short. They're usually between 7 and 12 slides long. But again, from there, after you schedule a meeting with us, once your content is live and in your account, we can show you some ways that if you wanted to, add on or add a couple of lessons to the course, it's really easy to do. And all the branding that our instructional design team sets up for you will carry over to the new lessons that you create in that course, which is really awesome. All right, so next up, we have an EdApp customer story. So we have Shane from Learnful here. So his story is really great. So he submitted a trade in your training. And then from there, he created a bunch of other lessons and courses using the branding that we had. And after that, deployed it to many users. So I'm going to go ahead now and play his short video.
My name is Shane Ormsby, and I'm a founder of Learnful, an online provider of university and industry-verified professional diplomas in transferable and in-demand skills. When we engaged with EdApp, one of the key challenges we had was translating our traditional face-to-face materials into online microlessons. The Trade in Your Training is now one of our most used features within EdApp. Everybody, from the subject matter experts that we work with, to most importantly the overwhelmingly positive student feedback that we've received, convinced us that we've made the right choice here. The best bit is the speed and efficiency that we're now able to complete the microlessons, having availed of some early help and guidance from the curriculum design experts within EdApp. Based on our 6 months of experience, I have no hesitation in recommending EdApp.
Awesome. Thanks, Shane. And Jess has worked with Shane for a while now, and yeah, they're doing awesome. They're doing really great.
Yeah.
He's also utilized our live chat feature a lot, which is something that we'll show you later on in the demo today. That, you know, if you have any quick questions, you can just pop on. And Jess and I do run it sometimes. It's actually staffed by real people, not robots, during the week, and it's available for 24 hours, which is great.
Definitely. One thing I want to mention as well really quickly, Bobby, about Learnful's journey through EdApp is, in a way, they've kind of taken the perfect journey from just signing up with EdApp for free and starting to make the most of some of the services and features that we offer. So they made the most of booking a demo when they first started using EdApp. And that allowed us to start to build that relationship with them and be able to offer our expertise and advice to assist them with setting up their program and their training. And then obviously when Trading Your Training was launched, making the most of that to kind of shortcut that content creation. And that's usually what we say is the best way for our customers to get the most out of the platform is don't be afraid to reach out to us and talk to us, because this gives us the better idea on how you're going to set up your program, deploy your training. It gives us a bit more of an idea. And that allows us as well to be able to offer our advice and our expertise, and also suggest like onboarding sessions, drop-in sessions, all these things that are free of charge, which you might not necessarily have known about before having that demo. So if you're new to EdApp, or you've recently started, or you've just never had a demo, we definitely recommend it. Like me and Bobby, you can probably tell we're not terrifying, we're not scary. Our main role is to assist you with onboarding, and we take that job very seriously. So we love when people book demos with us, because there's nothing better than starting to build those relationships with you guys.
Yeah, it's just likes to say, yeah, it's just like to say we don't bite, so yeah, you don't have to worry about that.
We're friendly.
Awesome. Yes. All right, so on this slide here, I'm going to talk a little bit about Louis Motocross. So Jess is going to show you a real life example of what we did from taking a PowerPoint and converting it into an actual micro lesson as a real life case study. But just to give you some background on, you know, who Louis Motocross is, they're a company from Australia, and they've been doing training just in person and on paper for 25 years. And as you can imagine, the sport of motocross can be very dangerous. You know, a lot of safety is involved, a lot of safety training is involved. You know, they're exposed to numerous risks. So in order to, you know, make sure everyone's safe, you know, training is definitely key to their success. You know, they also wanted to make sure that their customer service team delivers the highest level of customer service to the people, you know, coming to them. And one of the main points why this was so successful for Louis Motocross was that they just didn't have the resources and time to devote to, you know, sitting down and just creating all this courseware or converting their existing courses in PowerPoint into a micro lesson. So again, this resource is really good for, again, you know, if you don't have an L&D department, if you're, you know, small to mid-sized company and you don't have time all day just to sit down and just create courseware, you know, this service can definitely help kickstart your program in EdApp, which is awesome. All right, great. So I think at this point now, we're ready to kick it off to you, Jess.
Yeah, I think the best thing for us to do is actually take a bit of a look at what did Louis provide? What was the training that our designers were given? And even better, what did our designers turn it into? So I'm happy to start sharing my screen, Bobby. If you want to stop, I can take over.
Yeah, go for it.
Fantastic.
Cool. Yeah, just one thing to mention too, sorry, just to cut you off,
it's all right.
before you get going, the chat is open, so if you have any questions or if you wanted to ask us anything or submit a comment, definitely feel free to do so. I'll be watching the chat, and if any questions pop up, I'll try to, you know, sneak a question in there as Jess is presenting here. So
great, thanks for that. But yeah, so you can probably see in front of you right now, this was the training that we were provided from Louis that they'd asked for us to change into some EdApp learning. And I'm sure we've all seen PowerPoints like this before, where it's very much kind of just to the point. We've got that information, but from a learner point of view, it might not necessarily be the most engaging and interactive training. So I'm proud to say that our designers did a really fantastic job being able to step it up, so to speak. So what I'm going to do is actually take us over into the admin portal so we can actually start to see this training and how our designers kind of took it from that PowerPoint to something that was going to really engage their teams.
Hey,
And
Jess, actually, sorry, we have a
It's
first
all right.
question. So
Oh, fantastic.
Aaron's asking, does it have to be a PowerPoint? Can it be a Word document?
Yeah, of course it could be a Word document. It could be a PDF. Any training that you've got that you want to digitalize and bring into Adap, submit that training. Like we said at the start, it'll likely be myself, Bobby, or another member of the team who will reach out and just want to get to know a little bit more about what you're hoping to get from this training. So is it that you're wanting to focus on maybe some engaging features like quizzing, or maybe a few gamified elements? That's going to make sure that we can pass the most information on to our designers so that you're really going to walk away with some training that is spot on for your brand, that you know kind of ticks those boxes of what you want to get out of this training. And like we said, it's such a speedy process to be done by our designers that it can really kind of take a little bit of the pressure off your shoulders by allowing you to focus on maybe getting a bit more confident with authoring or starting to invite your users. So we just want to take something off your plate so that you can kind of focus on those other aspects. But yeah, I hope that answered your question, Erin. Thank you for that. So yeah, what we're going to do right now then is actually start to preview this content that's been created by our designers. And if any of you have been with EdApp for a couple of months, you might have noticed that we've got our new preview feature here when you're within your courseware library. And this is fantastic for being able to easily preview your content, whether it be content that you've created or that's been created for you through Trade in Your Training, or if it's content that has been imported in from the content library. I'm sorry, I feel like I'm having some technical difficulties now on my side. Bear with me one moment. Okay, we might have a change of plan then because my computer is not playing ball today. So what we're going to do is we're going to go a little bit old school. What I wanted to show you then was how we can start to preview the content on a range of different devices, because at EdApp we are a mobile first company, but you can also access the content on mobile, tablet and web. And what we can also do to go a little bit more old school, if I go into this lesson and click edit, we've also got the option to actually start to look at on our course level at our different lessons. And I said before, the technology for me today is not playing ball. I feel like this is definitely a common occurrence in COVID sometimes that we're all used to, when technology is not wanting to play along with us right now. And I wasn't expecting it to be live on a webinar, but give me one moment, we can definitely have a look into this.
Yeah, and just one more thing I wanted to mention while Jess is getting this going too, is that, you know, again, we're gonna keep in touch with you, you know, all the way through this process. You know, if we reach out to you, if I reach out to you or just reach out to you, we'll be your main point of contact here. So, you know, we'd be happy to help facilitate you along the whole process.
Thanks for that, Bobby. We're ready to rock and roll again. Technology is working.
Nice.
I have overcome this issue. But yeah, so with our preview feature, I've mentioned that we can start to look at this on a range of devices, which you'll probably see in the top right-hand corner here. So we've got mobile, tablet, and desktop. And what's great about this training is it's going to look great no matter the device it's being accessed on by your learners. And another helpful aspect of this is that we can actually start to look at the individual lessons that make up this course. So if we were to just stick with our first lesson here, we can start to interact and go through the journey that our learners are going to go through whilst taking this training. So it's got a nice blend of great interactivity, such as the Scratch to Reveal template, which is one of my favorites. And then if we were to continue on, we've also got some interactions, and we can start to go through the journey that our learners are going through, and we can start to get a feel for, great, how is this looking? How is this feeling? Do we like this template? Do we want to add in some different training? Do we want to start to look at some different options? And as well with this, it's not just about sharing content. We can look at starting to test our users' understanding of this training, which is what we've got here. So we work very much on a teach, test, reinforce basis. So we've gone through some content, we've taught our learners about the safety that is taking place at Louis, and now we're testing them. And then we've got this little white pop-up here, which is that reinforcement. So that's correct, this is why, or that's incorrect, this is why. So I'm not going to take you fully through this content because we'll be here for a while, but what I do want to focus on showing you is how we can actually start to look at how this content is constructed and how can we use this content to continue creating our own. So,
hey Jess, before you move on, we do have another question actually.
Yeah, of course.
Andrew's asking, is there a maximum length or size for each course?
Yeah, so in terms of if you were submitting through Trading Your Training, you can make up to 3 submissions. We normally say, it's kind of how long is a piece of string. So we'll have a look at the training because it could be that your PowerPoint could be 20 slides long, but it could be that there's a mixture of title slides, maybe one-slide images. It's really having a look at the content and having that open discussion with yourselves about do you want to provide a little bit more content if it's on the smaller side, or do we want to look at breaking this up if it is a piece of training that's on the longer side? And now in terms of micro-learning content, got slides on the mind. We usually say for micro-learning, it's between 12 to 15 slides. I know, Bobby, you say slightly more. It's kind of just seeing what works for you in terms of the content. So it's a very intuitive process, but that's what's quite nice about it. It's very free, easy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then just one more thing, Jess, before you move on. I like to say that in a course, you can have many lessons inside of a course, but again, we like to keep each lesson where, as Jess said, probably 15 slides maximum, but you can also group lessons into modules if you have a lot of lessons in a course. But for the Trading Your Training process, usually what a lot of people that I talk to do, and I think Jess, you're the same way, usually even if you submit a larger document, we'll give you a call and be like, hey, it makes sense if we do. Usually a lot of people just want to see what it looks like. So we'll usually just do a few lessons for you at first, just for you to get a feel, what your courseware is going to look like in EdApp. And then from there, we can have a discussion about possibly converting the rest of your materials or, maybe another lesson or two. So back over to you, Jess.
Brill, thanks for that, Bobby. So yeah, let's continue on with this live demo and start to go through, we'll continue on through this journey that we're going through after following the Trading Your Training. So what we're actually going to do is I'm keen to show you how we can start to make some little changes, because it might be that you receive your training back and you're wanting to maybe add in some more content, maybe add in some more quizzing, and that's really easy to do within Adap. So what we're going to do is go up to the top right hand corner here where it says edit this course, and we're going to take ourselves through to the authoring tool. So where it's brought us right now, we're on the course level. So everything right now relevant to the course as a whole can be found here, whether that's just looking at the lessons that build up this course or the branding that's been done, so how the course looks and feels, which we'll go on to in a moment, and also the access rules and looking at engagement and completion. Now, what we're wanting to do is actually go into the authoring tool. And to do that, we need to open up one of our courses. So I'm actually going to select this second course. We've gone through the first one. Let's take a little look at the second, because I'm sure I'm not the only one that thinks that the designers have picked some fantastic images for this content, to say they had quite a bare bones piece to start with. Now, where we've come from our previous page, which was on the course level, we've now brought ourselves down onto the lesson level, specifically this riding at Louis in hot weather level. And to get into the authoring tool, again, it's just the case of clicking this blue button in the top right-hand corner. And this is going to take us through to the authoring tool. Now, what I want to mention here is we touched briefly on that we do offer free onboarding sessions. And within these onboarding sessions, it's a series. There is 3 sessions. The first one covering authoring. And if you're new to EdApp and you're going to be creating content and you've started to have a play around, but you think it's time to get a little bit of help from the experts, feel free to join these onboarding sessions. They're free, they run fortnightly, and this is just a live tutorial which walks you through authoring. Then we also have the second in the series, which covers user and content management. We'll cover a little bit of that today, such as inviting users, but this session definitely goes a bit more in depth into inviting users, creating user groups, perhaps specifying which content would be available for certain user groups, And then finally, the third session, which covers engagement features and analytics. So this is more when you're getting to that stage where you've invited your users, you've deployed the content, and now you're looking at how we can start to maybe re-engage users or looking at the analytics to track their completions and how they're performing. So you can join these sessions at any point if you're part of a wider team. Say, for example, you work at a business that it's not yourself creating content, it's actually some other people. Feel free to get them on these sessions. They're here to help. They're really informative, and it's going to just assist you so much. So definitely make the most. But yeah, going back to the authoring tool, I can imagine that some of you have already had a play around in the authoring tool, if not all of you. And if it was that we were wanting to take this content created by our designers and add in a few different aspects, or even duplicate slides or delete them, it's incredibly easy. Now, you'll see on the right-hand side, we're currently just on our image slider, which has been created as a title slide. And we can go through any of our different slides, either clicking here or going through the content. And you'll see on the right-hand side, we've got a few different options. We've got the option to change the template, to duplicate this template, or even just delete it. But if we're wanting to have a look and see what templates we could add in, it's just as easy as clicking add a new template and bringing us through to the template library, of which there is a range of different templates, whether it be for content or different interactions to test your users. So it's super easy to navigate, and it's a nice way for you just being able to edit that content and maybe add a few more things in. Now, when we were back on that course level, I discussed branding just slightly. And what you've probably noticed is that the branding for this course has been custom designed. So this can be a really helpful resource for you to be able to continue to create branded content, because the designers have done some heavy work for you. Now, I'm going to just take us back to our course for a second. I'm going to just show us a little bit more about this branding. So even if it was that you weren't going through trade in your training, you can start to brand that content and make it feel your own through adding your logo, maybe some company images as a background. And this can all be done on our branding tab here. Now, we'll see that this is already populated because we've got our completed course. We've got our logo, which has been added here. And if I scroll down slightly, we're going to see that this custom CSS box has been enabled. And what our designers have done is they've started to look at Louis' website and pull the company colors, some custom fonts, and really started to make this training, they've taken it to the next level in terms of branding. And if you were to go through trade in your training and you're wanting to duplicate this, I'm going to show you an easy way of doing it to create new content, but you could also just copy and paste the content of this box and post it into a new lesson. Now, I always like a shortcut. Bobby likes a shortcut, and I think everyone else can agree with me. Sometimes you just need a shortcut, especially if you're going to be creating your own content after trade in your training. Now, what I'm going to do is actually take us back to our courseware page that we were on previously. And the shortcut that we're talking about right now is actually duplicating this course that is being created through trade in your training to use as like a shell to create new training. And it's just as easy as hovering over our course, selecting the dots in the top right-hand corner and pressing duplicate. And what we're going to do here is take our duplicated course, then perhaps rename this in the title. So this could be, rather than safety guidelines, this could be new hire onboarding. This could be for their new team members. And what we're going to do is take this existing course and start to restructure it and build it out with some new content. Now, let's imagine that I've updated the description with content relevant to new hire onboarding. I'm not going to bore you all with me trying to make something up on the spot. Instead, I'd rather continue and push on. But yeah, what we're going to do here, because the branding has been created on the course level, we can actually remove these lessons that have been completed, because that's not going to affect our branding. So what we're going to do, I'm going to remove these lessons that are existing, because if this was a new course, these might not be relevant. And we're actually going to start to create a new lesson. And that can be done with this blue button here in the right-hand corner. You're probably starting to notice a trend. I'm saying the blue box in the top right-hand corner quite often. It's because normally when you're wanting to create something new within EdApp, I normally say just keep an eye out for the blue button, especially when you're creating content. So with our new lesson, you just again say new hires onboarding. And we've got a helpful little preview below here. Now, when you create a new lesson, you're given 2 slides. We've got a title slide and we've got our exit slide. And what I'm going to show you how to do is actually start to take some of the branding and some of the content that the designers have created in the previous lessons for us to start to make an interesting experience in this new lesson. Because one thing some people might have noticed is that the title slides on the other lessons that were created is slightly different to this one. So what we're going to do is actually bring in that custom title slide from the other lessons into this lesson so we can then start to build out that new course. So again, what I'm going to do is just take us through to the authoring tool. And what I'm going to go through right now is actually how to import slides from another course into this one. So this could be really handy if you're creating content and it might be that there's introductions or there's some subject matter which covers 2 different courses, 2 different lessons. And to save you from having to recreate it again, you can easily just import. So back to the template library, rather than going into any of our different styles of templates, we're actually going to go to this import button in the bottom left-hand corner. And what this does is it gives us the option to be able to pull in slides from any of the lessons which are in our account. So what I'm going to look for is our safety from Louis. So if I just scroll down, here we are. I'm going to just select our protective clothing at Louis. And if I wanted to select more than one slide, I can do. It's just as easy as pressing the up button or typing in what number slide we're wanting to go to. But for the purpose of this exercise, what we're wanting to do is take our title slide that had been created through Trade in Your Training, and we're just going to insert that into this new lesson. And now I'm just going to take our previous title slide, which I think we can all agree in comparison doesn't look as great. It looks a little bit boring.
Definitely not.
Bobby's, yeah, I see Bobby nodding his head. We both agree. There's nothing better than a image slider template for a title slide. Now, if you wanted, you could easily keep this image the same as it is. You could use our Canva integration to bring in some new images from their repository, or if you had company images that you wanted to use, again, you can just bring those in. And in terms of editing this, it's just as easy as going down to our caption. And this one could just be onboarding for new hires at Louis. And then we can start to build out that content, and a lot of the heavy lifting's been done for you. And it's just a case of selecting your templates and starting to populate it. Brilliant.
Hey,
I can
Jess,
see as well. Yeah.
Sorry, we do have another question.
I know. Yeah, I've just seen it.
Yeah, everyone's asking how to get background images again. Yeah,
of course. So what I'm going to do, Erin, is for a second, I want to just confirm. So the background images. So we've got 2 different types of slides right now that we've been going through that have the background images, and I just want to go through both of them. So the background image right now on this branding for the exit slide and any new template that we add in, this has been done on the course level under the branding tab. And I'll go back and show you that in a second. Whereas these images here, this is actually a type of template called the image slider. And just to show you where this is, the image slider is one of our favorite templates, just because it allows you to begin to create cover images, or just bring in any kind of images that you can annotate and label and provide information. And it's found just here under content and image slider. If I just take us back to ours for a moment, what we've done with this is that we've taken the image that's been provided in the content tab, and in terms of the position, we've changed it to cover. And what it's done is extract that out to begin to create a new title slide for us. What I'll do, I'm going to just take us back to the course level for a second, just to touch on where you could upload background images. And then we can start to look at how to invite users, because fantastic, we've got our content through Trade in Your Training, we've made some edits to it, we've started to create some new content, but now we're going to start to invite users. But quickly before we go there, I'm just going to take us back to the course level. So this is where we're viewing everything relevant to the course. And to upload a background image, it's just as easy as going to branding and coming across here to lesson background. And you can upload an image, or again, you can use the design on Canva button. And if you haven't had a chance to explore the branding elements of authoring within Adap, have a play around. And I always recommend use the Canva integration. It doesn't require, you can have a free account to use Canva. You don't have to go for a pro account. I have a free account. I get the most out of it. And it allows you just to get a little bit creative. And normally on demos as well, I like to say to people, especially if they're working within another business or their own business, if you're exploring Adap, sometimes it's nice to do a little bit of the authoring and creating on a Friday afternoon, winding down for the weekend, but you're still exploring Adap. You're just having a really fun time doing it.
Get those creative juices flowing, right?
Definitely. If anyone asks you what you're doing, it looks like you're having too much fun. You say, no, I'm sorting out our e-learning. We're making it fun. But it's a nice way to, start to wind down, get those creative juices flowing. So brilliant. Right. So I've already mentioned we've got our course. It's time to start inviting users. And it's super easy to do this. And we've got multiple different ways. Now, the first thing I want to touch on just before we head over to our users tab is that you'll start to see with our courses down here that some of them are fully saturated colors and some of them are slightly grayed out. And this is because some of them are in draft mode and some of them have been published. Now, when you have users within your account, if it's published, this would be available for your users to see. But if we switch it to draft mode, your users wouldn't be able to see this content. So if you're still working away, keep it in draft mode. And then when you're ready to share it with your users, just easily tap it, it'll go back into published. So yeah, let's head over to inviting users. Let's share this content with the team. So a lot of you might imagine it's as easy as going over to our users tab here and straight down to invite users. Now, we've recently just introduced a new method of inviting users, which we're going to go over now. But the first place I'm going to start is actually just inviting users by email. And this could be the case of inviting a few users individually. If you just recently joined Adap and you're thinking, great, I need to share this with a few members of the team. Let's get a feeling for how they find the platform as well. Let's introduce them. You could easily introduce a few users individually. Everyone is automatically ticked as a learner, so they have access to the learner platform. But you can also specify here if you want them to be an admin. So if you have some colleagues that you want to have admin access, you can easily invite them via email and just tick admin. Now, below from this, we've got our email subject line. It's very much what it says on the tin. It's just you being able to edit what this email subject line says. So it could be that you've been invited to join Adap by Jessica, by me, or it could be the company name, could be anyone. And you've also then got the option to invite via bulk if we're looking at inviting all of your cohort. Now, this again, super easy to do. It's just a case of downloading our template, starting to fill in those fields. So maybe email, first name, surname. If you want to include their role, you can do, and then just upload this document. And then we can send out the invitation email. Or if you don't want to send an email and you just want to invite them, you can just untick that, easy peasy. So that's covered off inviting users by email. It might be that you're going to be sharing your content with users and you might not necessarily know the email that's best to invite them with. That's fine. We've got some great methods of being able to invite your users, which is our newest option, which is invite by link. We can see we've got the option here to invite via hyperlink. So this could be, you can just copy this, send it out in a company-wide email if it's for your organization, or you can even download a QR code to share, and your learners can just scan this QR code. And what it's going to do is it's going to take them to the EdApp sign up page, and then they can start to populate that with their information, sign up, and they're going to be brought directly into your account. Now, for any people that want to use one of our older methods, which is invite code, that is still an option. It's just over in this settings option in the top right-hand corner, and you've got access to invite code still. And what I want to highlight as well in the settings, which can be quite nice if you're using the QR code or the link, you can even upload your logo, so that when your learners go through this process of being invited and signing up, they're seeing your company logo at the forefront while they're signing in. And if I scroll down as well, we've got the option to verify the learners if they're coming through the link, QR code, or invite code. So if you want to verify the users coming in, you can always select that. And another nice feature as well is you can actually select the registration fields that they're going to provide. So say, for example, Louis had multiple locations. To actually stipulate the store name, so they have to tell us which location they're at, so we're aware of that information. But yeah, I think this has kind of covered off everything that we're really wanting to explain about trading your training and going through this process of getting that trading your training, starting to build upon from it, and then actually starting to deploy it. So if anyone's got any questions that you want to ask me or Bobby, feel free to send them in the chat. We can go through them live. Or if you don't have any questions right now and you might have some later, feel free to book a demo with us, or even just put it through the live chat as well. Like Bobby had mentioned before, we're not robots. A lot of the time you're probably going to see me or Bobby's name in there welcoming you, or some of the rest of the team. And we can vouch for them. Everyone's lovely. So either way, we're going to be happy to help. But yeah.
Exactly. Awesome. Yeah, we do have about 7 minutes left. So if you did want to ask us any further questions, I would pop them in the chat now. But yeah, Jess, if you want, I can take over sharing my screen and just show the final slides that we have here, if that's okay.
Yeah, of course. There you go.
All right, so up on the screen here, I just wanted to mention that we do have authoring drop-in sessions. So these here are with our instructional design team. So if you're in the UK or Europe, they're every Monday and Thursday at 4 p.m. BST. And if you're in North America, it's Monday and Wednesday at 4 p.m. EDT. And these are very short meetings, but they'll definitely walk you through any issues that you're having. Again, we also do have the one-to-many onboarding sessions that Jess had mentioned. So if you go to our website and go to the Take a Tour section, there are the 3 different sections. So there's the authoring one, the content and learner management one, and we'd also have one on engagement and analytics as well. So we definitely recommend you going. Yep.
Sorry, Bobby, because I've also just posted the link in the chat as well for anyone who just wants to click through that and book on those sessions. Perfect.
Yeah, and they're one-to-many onboarding sessions in a webinar style like this, where you could just pop in questions as they're going through some things, and it's really nice and really fun. Couple more slides I got here. So if you wanted to have a personalized demo, we have Luke, who's running these demos for Australia and US, and Jamie over in the UK. You may also, come across them, some demos with, Jess or I. If you book a platform tour on the website, we run those as well. So that's awesome. And then questions and answers. So this is my last slide that I have here. Let's check the chat and see if there are any other questions and answers.
We've got a great one here from Jimmy Bobby, which says, can we just quickly go through how easy it is to import videos from YouTube or other platforms to enhance lessons or courses? So we can talk about how we can embed YouTube videos or Vimeo straight into lessons.
Sure. Jess, do you want to take over sharing?
Yeah,
you probably have the admin up. Yeah, so let me stop and I'll have Jess go ahead and show how we do that, which it's really awesome. We have a template just for YouTube, and what you can do in the template, the settings that you can select are really great too.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to continue on this like Louis theme, and let's just take one of our courses through Trading Your Training, and we're just going to add a lesson in. And again, we're going to go through that similar process before, and I'm just going to take us through to the authoring tool. And what's great about when you're wanting to stream videos from YouTube or Vimeo, like Bobby said, is that we've got a dedicated template for this. So I've taken us through to our template library. And if we just go down in the content section, so with the content, what's great is that you can have a range of different medias, whether it's images, different photos, animations, GIFs, audio files, narration, and also video. And that's taken us nicely down to the bottom of the screen here, where we've got a few different options. Now, the video side is if you were just wanting to embed a video that you have saved to your device. But if you're wanting to stream videos from Vimeo or YouTube, these can be done using these different templates. And what I quite like about these templates, and I've done this before when creating content, is that you can actually stipulate a start time and end time. So when I've created content in the past, I wanted to refer to an aspect of a TED Talk, and it was just about a 20-second clip within this 20-minute long video. I actually can stipulate those start time and end time of that clip I wanted to showcase, and it's easily done. So I hope that answers your question, Jimmy, about how I hope you see that it is super easy to be able to bring in that content into the authoring tool. Now, I can see another question here, Bobby, as well. Erin's just got in there saying Vimeo as well. Yep, we've got one for Vimeo as well. So don't worry if it's YouTube or Vimeo, you can have them in there. Now, I can see that Ellen's asked a question in regards to content creation. Now, I want to mention that we have recently introduced another form of another kind of pricing plan, so to speak, and this is one which includes content creation. So if you were someone who didn't have the time to create your content, or you wanted an extra hand, what I'd recommend is booking a demo session, and we can start to discuss the different options we've got for you in regards to creating custom content outside of trading your training. Brill, Bobby, can you see any more questions? I think
great. Yeah, we do have, I know we're running up on time, but we do have a couple more. Guy is asking, is it possible to create a hyperlink between pages? For example, create a question and point to an answer page and back. I could take this one, Jess. You wouldn't be able to hyperlink to other slides in that app, but you can embed a URL to an external web page. So if you wanted to, take them to your website or something like that, or take them somewhere else, you can embed a URL, but you wouldn't be able to have them click on a link and have them jump back to another slide. They can review previous slides if they wanted to inside the lesson, but you wouldn't be able to bring them to another slide via that. And then last question here, Aaron's asking, is there a video limit size? Yeah, so
sorry, I was sending a help article then.
It's okay. Yeah, you want to take this one?
Yeah, I believe the hard limit is 10 megabytes. Bobby, I'm looking at you just to confirm.
So I'm gonna send through our image and video sizes support guide that we have here. It says a recommended file size of 10 megabytes. You can go over it, but it could affect performance. I like to say that if you can go up to like around 60, but again, after that, there could be some buffering issues. Again, we're a microlearning platform, so we recommend that if you're going to upload a video, they should really be, I say like 3 minutes tops. I don't know what you usually say, Jess, but that's what I like to say.
I normally say about 2 minutes of compressed video, but this isn't like, I have a helpful little hack to get around this. So say, for example, you did have a slightly longer video, what you could do is actually start to break that video down into smaller chunks. So these chunks could be 2 minutes long, 3 minutes long, if you're like Bobby. And in between these chunks, you can actually start to have interactions and questions. I think we all know sometimes when we're watching a longer video, it is quite easy for us to daydream about something else and our mind to switch off. Those questions are going to ensure that your learners are going to be engaged throughout. So that's the nice little tip I like to say. If you do need to add in some slightly longer videos, just break them up.
Awesome. Yeah, and that would have to be done outside of EdApp. So you could use some third-party video editing software, and then you could also compress it too if it's still too big. So awesome. Yeah, I think that's all we have. That's all we got. So
yeah, that's all we've got time for as well. But yeah, if anyone does want to chat to us a bit more in depth, like we've mentioned a few times already, and you're probably sick of us saying, feel free to book a demo.
Feel free. Yeah. All right, great. Jess, thank you so much for your time. Thank you everyone for joining, and we'll see you around.
Yeah, we'll see you on the next webinar. Take care, everyone.
Yeah. Have a good one. Bye.
Bye.